Good evening. My name is Max Parker, and I want to welcome you to the regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of San Angelo Independent School District. In a few minutes, I'll read a script of how the protocols that we follow in our meetings, but first I want to make note that we have a quorum here. All our board members are present except Amy Mizell Flint, and she was here earlier, and she's gone over to Central for an awards banquet involving one of her children, and she hopes to come back in a few more minutes to participate with our board decisions tonight. We've got a pretty busy night. We've got a lot of recognitions, and I know that's why many of you are here. But before we get started, I want to ask Brandon Clark, who's the lead pastor at Celebration Church, to lead us in our invocation.
If you could join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we are so thankful for the freedom in this nation to be able to approach you, Heavenly Father. Thank you, Lord, that you give wisdom and you give it freely. And we thank you for these group of people who have chosen to serve in this community. Lord, we just pray for your voice, your guidance, your wisdom to be heard, and a place of protection over our students, Lord, over our educators, Heavenly Father, over our facilities. Lord, and I just lift up, Lord, this entire community. Lord, I pray a place of peace, a place of unity. And Lord, we know that being entrusted with the future generations and education is a high calling. And we just look to you to be able to equip and to guide and to empower at every turn, so this generation is raised up to be who they're called to be. And we thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Pastor Clark. I think we'll do our pledges to the United States and Texas flag, and we have some Lamar Elementary students who are all brothers and sisters. And I'm going to ask them to come up. Serenity Vasquez, Rosa Vasquez, Sophia Rodriguez, Rigo, is it Rigo or Rigo? Rigo. All right, Rigo Vasquez, and Ruben Vasquez. I think we have a fifth grader, a fourth grader, a third grader, a second grader, and a kindergarten. All right, so you guys turn around this way and lead us in our pledge. Okay, parents or teachers, administrators that want to take photographs of this family, Lamar students, come on up. Thank you, guys. Thank you, parents, for having them here. Yep. All right. I need to read for the record now our introductory script for all meetings. As I mentioned earlier, I want to welcome all of you as board president to our tonight's regular board meeting. I also welcome any of you who are watching this recording of this meeting online or on our public access channel, Optimum Channel 4. We appreciate your interest in the activities of our students and the business of SAISD. All items that will be discussed at our meeting this evening have been posted as required by state law. Also, as you may be aware, our board meets a minimum of 2 times per month, and most, if not all, the items on our agenda this evening have previously been discussed at our earlier pre-agenda board workshop, which we held last Monday. As members of the SAISD Board of Trustees, we're here to set goals, listen to reports from our superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, and personnel appointments, and to make policy for the district. Please keep in mind that our meeting is a meeting of the Board of Trustees held in public and not a meeting of the public. However, prior to taking any votes on any action item, I will ask audience members if they would like to make any comments. Also, we have public comment item on every one of our meeting agendas that allows anyone present who wishes to speak to our board team on an item not on our action agenda an opportunity to do so. Please provide your name and contact information and the specific topic you wish to address on a public comment form, which is located over here to my right under the screen. Need to do that prior to the start of tonight's meeting should you want to speak on an issue not on our action agenda. Please listen carefully and comply with the following rules so we can move through public comment efficiently. Each speaker will be given a total of 5 minutes or less to speak. You will be notified when your time is up. You are to stop speaking and return to your seat after your time is up. You will not be given extra time. Please respect the privacy of others and refrain from identifying students, employees, or other community members by name. Disruption of the meeting will not be tolerated at any time. Comments on any subject, whether positive or negative, must be courteous and respectful. Comments are limited to the specific topic you indicated on the form you filled out. Any speaker with a specific complaint about a district employee, decision, or operational issue should present that complaint through the appropriate mechanism, which is the district's formal grievance process. Speakers with a specific complaint will be referred to district administration for information about the grievance process. If you already had a pending grievance being processed by the board, you will not be permitted to speak about the grievance during public comment. Also, please understand, if you speak to us on an item not on our action agenda, that the board cannot reply to you except to thank you for your comment, since the matter has not been posted for discussion. In compliance with state law, these proceedings are recorded and will become a part of SAISD permanent legal record. In order that the recording will adequately reflect the proceedings, I ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking. I also ask you, as I remind my fellow board members, to please turn off or silence your cell phones. Again, thank you for being here and your support of SAISD. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rodney Chant, our Director of Athletics for SAISD, for some recognitions of Central and Lakeview athletes.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Dr. Deathloff, Board of Trustees. Our spring is winding down. We have one young man that will be competing at the state golf tournament here in a week or so we will recognize him at our June board meeting. But tonight we've got a number of teams that we want to recognize. And first off, we're going to start off with the maidens from Lakeview High School, led by Alicia Kentner.
Okay, first off, I'd like to thank school board for giving us the opportunity to recognize these kiddos, the parents that are here, my assistant coaches, the trainers, Coach Chant, as well as the Lakeview community for all the support that they gave the maidens this year. During our season, we had a really strong season this year. We had over 40 girls come out for track. Out of that 40, 20 of them were freshmen, and of that 20 that were freshmen, 9 of them were on varsity. Usually I have maybe 2 to 3 freshmen that are good enough to be placed on varsity, so 9 is definitely an exciting number, especially with only 5 seniors graduating. We had many broken PRs over the season, and the maidens represented well at every meet we attended. Rain or shine, these girls showed up to work to get better. And as a coach, I'm so thankful that they trusted the program and saw results throughout the season. The girls standing in front of you represent the maidens that advanced past district. As you can see, this is a good-sized group, and I'm excited to give them the recognition that they deserve. Freshman Emma Brooks, area qualifier in high jump. Wave. There you go. Amalia Santanen, area qualifier in the 300 hurdles. Freshman Pamela Ayer, area qualifier in the 300 hurdles. Vanessa is not here, but she's a freshman, area qualifier in the 3200 and the mile relay. Raquel Bohannon, sophomore, area qualifier in the 3200. Junior Esme Flores, area qualifier in the pole vault. Junior Amaya Colquitt, area qualifier in the discus. Junior Andrea Lopez, area qualifier in the 400, 800, and mile relay. Senior Faith Miller, area qualifier in the 800. And senior and class valedictorian, Misha Watts, was the area qualifier in the mile relay. Then we have the girls who advanced past the area meet. Freshman Chrislyn Herrera, she was an area qualifier in the 200, the 4x1, and the 4x2 relay, a regional qualifier in the 200, and a regional finalist in the 4x100 meter relay. Analicia Vasquez is the area qualifier in the 100, 4x1, and 4x2. And she was also a finalist in the, a regional finalist, sorry, in the 4x100 relay. Skylin Carroll, sophomore, area qualifier in the 100, 4x1, 4x2 relay, regional qualifier and finalist in the 100 and the 4x100 meter. And then senior Jasmine Flores, area qualifier in the 4x1 and 4x2 relay, and a regional finalist in the 4x1 relay. We had a really great season, and so thank you again to all of you for giving me the opportunity to recognize these girls and the great job and hard work that they did this year. This is your 2023 maidens.
Next, we have the Lakeview Chiefs, led by Coach Alan Barr.
Good evening. I'm Coach Derek Allenbar, along with coaches Jonathan Gonzalez, Rachel Brewster, and Brian Farrell. We would like to thank the school board, administration, and parents for your support this season. This year at the district track meet, we placed second overall as a team. We had 14 area qualifiers, 9 regional qualifiers, and 1 state qualifier. In attendance today is, please step forward when I call your name to be recognized. Sophomore, Martin Arredondo. He was a regional qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay. Freshman, Christian Esparza, area qualifier in the 300 hurdles. Sophomore, Stephen Ferris, regional qualifier in discus. Senior, Jaden Fuentes, area qualifier in the 800 and regional qualifier in the 4x400 meter relay. Sophomore, Landon Kavidum, area qualifier in the 110 and 300 hurdles. Sophomore, Francisco Ramirez, regional qualifier in the 4x100 meter relay, 4x400 meter relay. That was it. Should have been another thing. Senior, Justin Vasquez, regional qualifier in the 4x400 meter relay. And then finally we have senior Derek Taylor, area and regional qualifier in high jump, 4x100 meter relay, 4x400 meter relay, and our lone state qualifier in the 200 meter dash. So, this is your 2023 area regional state qualifiers. I say this every year, but it's true. These kids are the best. These coaches are the best. And Lakeview High School, San Angelo ISD, is lucky to have these kids and these coaches working. And we're just happy to have your support. And we'll be glad to come back again next year. Thank you.
Coach, you want to introduce your coaches? Did you? Okay. Never mind. I understood you already introduced your coaches. I was me, the one not paying attention. I'm sorry.
Next up, we have the Lakeview baseball team led by Jay Saul. Come on up, gentlemen.
Hello, everyone. The Lakeview varsity baseball team, we were 10-15 this year and 5-5 in our district, and that seems pretty good. But we were some people's Cinderella story this year, and could have been a little better. And I know our boys aren't satisfied with it, but we did have a great season. In attendance, Coach Mark Arnold, Coach Max Rivero, Christian Esparza, Braden Packard, Ian Cortez. The first team outfielder is a freshman, Justice Gutierrez, and Trace Woods. The only one in attendance in our all-district selection is Justice Gutierrez. Raise your hand, Justice. We did have a great season. It didn't end quite the way we wanted it to, but we're happy to be here. Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you, Coach Hall. Next up, I'd like to introduce the 2023 state champion Lady Cat gymnastic team led by Tony Walker.
I'm going to be using technology for my report, so I'm hoping I get extra credit. First of all, I want to thank the board and Dr. Detloff and the administration for constantly allowing us to come up here and sharing our successes for the year with these athletes and people that you can kind of put faces to their successes to. So thank you. We appreciate that. I want to thank Dr. Detloff and Coach Chant and Mr. Waters for coming out and supporting us at the state championships this year. For those of you that know gymnastics on the board, I'll tell you that after the first day, we were second by .075. So that's not even a step in gymnastics. And we take it into day 2. We're in the very last event, and we are tied to the 1,000th of a point. And we're in our last event. The other team is in their last event. And it comes down to just battling it out right there at the end. And our last vaulter just so happened to just nail it to the wall there. And we ended up being the state champions for 2023 by .45. So these girls were the district champions this year again, and they were the regional champions this year again. They should not have been the state champions. On paper, there are about 3 teams that should have beat them. But because of their tenacity, because of their focus, because of how hard they worked this year, they put San Angelo on the map for a 5th straight year in a row after graduating several seniors that were significant to their successes for the past 4 years. So to do this in kind of a new year was something for them. So I want to tell them congratulations and what a great job they did this year. I would like to start with my freshmen down there. I'm going to run down their names real quick. Freshmen, if you'll step out. I've got Ava Bedard, who is sick, Gracie Foster, Addison McDuffie, Allison Garnett, and Steely Young. That's my freshman class. Sophomores, if you will step forward. I have Kara Baker, Kaylin Cadd, Daniela De La Cruz, Haley George, and Harley Orellana. And then juniors, if you will step forward. I have Marielle Hartsky, McKinley Nile, Caroline Steele, Freddie Rosenberg. Von Rosenberg is sick today. And then I have, go ahead and girls, you can step back. One senior, Ella Burns, it has gone to senior spotlight tonight. So we miss her. I'm going to run through their accomplishments here 1 second. These are a group of talented young ladies. Not only are they gymnasts, but the majority of these girls here are also cheerleaders. You'll see them on the field on Friday nights or on the basketball court supporting other teams. They contribute to other sports as athletes. As athletes, also, they either, as academics, are either number 1, 2, or 3, or in the top 10 of their class, if not their top 10% of their respective classes. These young ladies are incredible, outstanding ambassadors for the city of San Angelo and our community and our school, and they do it year in and year out, not only on the competition floor, but just when they walk into a restaurant. They're truly great ambassadors for San Angelo. If you are a district champion, step forward. If you place in the top 3 at district, step forward. If you place in the top 6 of district, step forward. We're a strong team in district. Go ahead and step back. If you place in the top, if you are the regional champion on an event, step forward. And Ella Burns was as well. If you were top 3, step forward. If you were top 5, step forward. If you were top 10, step forward. If you competed at the district or regional meet, step forward. There we go. Thank you. And step back. If you are a state champion on floor, step forward. If you were in the top 3 on an event, step forward at state. If you were in the top 10 on an event, step forward at state. These girls did a fantastic job. Thank you. So as you can see, to run down them individually and just single them out would be difficult because there are so many accomplishments here. And the reason why we were state champions this year, it wasn't because we had a LeBron James, but because we had a strong team. And we came together in the very end, and that's why these girls are state champions for this year. Thank you for your constant support. We appreciate it.
Next up, we want to bring the state qualifying Bobcat gymnastics team led by Kern Arat.
Thank y'all for having us. A year ago was a rebuild, and we shocked a lot of people. And we didn't win district last year. We finished third, but we kept getting better, and we ended up winning regionals last year. This team came back. We only had one senior last year. And so I knew what we were capable of. But we won district, and then we won regionals, and then we qualified to state. Last year was really hard to qualify to state. Not only do you have to place in the top 3, but you have to make a qualifying score. And we were the only team in our region last year that made that qualifying score. I was really worried. I had talked to Mr. Waters. I said, you know, I've been here 29 years, and there was only one year that we didn't qualify to state, and that was in 1995. So I was really worried, but thank goodness these guys worked hard and pulled it out. And this year, a little easier, and we were ranked 8th, 9th all year long. And going into the state championships from scores, we were number 8. And this team overachieved, and they ended up moving up to 7th. At one time, we were sitting in 3rd, and I thought, oh my goodness. And but I knew we're not real strong on pommel horse and parallel bars, and I knew those events were coming up. And we started dropping, but we were trying to hang in there. And we finished the first day 7th, and so we started the second day, and the guys competed well. I'm very, very proud of them. And we do only have one senior, and that's Miguel Acton, or Flores Acton, and he's also at Senior Spotlight. Let me go through and introduce these guys. Freshmen, if y'all would step forward. First, I have Nick Atchison, then Carson Freeman, Ryder Ressman, Brady Stewart, who was district honorable mention, and then Caden Stewart and Adam Williams. These guys, this is a young team, and the way I try to do it, I try to make sure everybody gets to compete. And so with all these freshmen, they competed all year long. And we have meets where you can put up some extras At district, regionals, and state, you can only put 6 up. But these freshmen, all of them, competed at district, regionals, and state. So they got the experience, and I'm just really proud of them. Thanks, guys. Y'all can step back. Sophomores, we have Christian Lowe and Eli Soto. Eli, he was first team all-district and first team all-region. These guys did a phenomenal job. I'm very proud of them. Y'all can go ahead and step back. Okay, juniors. First, I have Tyler Duncan, second team all-district, first team all-region. Logan Kipfer, first team all-district and first team all-region, second team all-state. Then Michael Skinner. He was second team all-district and second team all-region. Logan placed at state for us, and I knew going in, because they have the rankings, I thought he could place on floor, and he ended up placing 8th at state. And then he ended up placing 8th on high bar, which was kind of a shocker. He was getting better all year, and we picked up a few more element groups, and he did a phenomenal job. And placing at state, he did a great job. And again, you guys can step back. I'm proud of these guys. I said a year ago we placed 9th at state. This year we placed 7th, and we added these 6 freshmen. So only 1 senior. Hopefully, if everything works right, because anything can happen, we're looking to move up in state next year and hopefully get another district and regional title. And we couldn't do this without y'all, and we're so appreciative, and thank y'all very, very much. Thanks, guys. Go ahead and take a picture. Oh.
Next up, we have the Lady Cat track team led by Larry Holscher.
So serious. Good evening. It's been a few years since I've done this, so it's kind of good to get back and have these beautiful young ladies to share their accomplishments with you this year. We had 16 move on from district this year. You only see 8 young ladies there because life happens. Obviously, like y'all have already heard, there's senior spotlight tonight, and the 4 seniors that made it out of district into area are all there tonight. The ones that aren't here, I'm still going to announce them because what they did and what they accomplished is still very important. Even if they're not here for you to shake their hand and tell them great job, that eye in the sky over there is, and hopefully they'll see me brag on them a little bit. Naomi Badgent and her sister Hannah Badgent both ran the 4x4. They are not here tonight. Both of them were solid all year long on the 4x4. We took a group that made it, I think, to area last year but didn't move on, and we dropped 10 seconds off that time we started the year off running the same time that they ended the year. So the 4x4 really improved a lot. And that was one of the common theme throughout the year was they had a whole new person running this program, but at times they might have thought it was me, but I try to let it be them because I truly believe an athlete-led team is stronger than a coach-led team. And as they get older and the ones that come back this year, which are all of these young ladies right here, will only be stronger because of it, because they'll get better as leaders. Madison De La Rosa is here tonight. She qualified for area in the 4x1 and the 4x4 and regionals in the 4x2. Yeah, a few things to run that day. Alyssa Delgado, she's a senior. She was second team all-district, or second team academic all-state, sorry. She qualified for area in the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 200, and was also original qualifier in the 4x2 and the 200. Emily Felton, she's here tonight. She was area qualifier in the 4x4 and the 4x2 and a regional qualifier in the 4x2. Emma George, who is a senior, qualified for area and the 32 or the 2 mile in area, and then the 32 for regionals. What's more important about Emma broke the school record in the 32 twice that had been around for about 20 years. It is now an 11:35.86, and I've coached for 25 years, and that's the fastest I've ever had a 2 mile run. I had one close with 11:47, but she broke that one this year. Muriel, you saw Muriel Harsky earlier with gymnastics, but she came out for us after gymnastics practice and did triple jump. She was an area and a regional qualifier in triple jump. So we'll get the same thing, I'm sure, out of her next year, but 2 foot further. Nevaeh Hearn is also here tonight. She is a junior. She qualified for area in the triple, the 4x1 and the 4x2, and then to regionals in the triple jump. Her and Mariel like to try to compete with each other at every meet and do a really good job. I think they feed off of each other. Jace Jackson was an area qualifier in the 4x1 and the 100. She's a junior coming back. McKenna McMillan was an area qualifier in the pole vault. She'll be back. Taylor Self is here tonight. She was an area qualifier in the 4x2, the 4x4, and the 400, and a regional qualifier in the 4x2. Caroline Steele is here tonight. You'll also recognize her from gymnastics as well. She came back out after practice, gymnastics practice as well, and was our 4x1 anchor at area. Amari Vincent's here tonight. She's the lone freshman up there. She qualified in the 4x2 for both area and regionals. And Chantel Watson was a senior. She was second team academic all-state and a area pole vaulter. Zoeanna Wiley was a senior. She was honorable mention academic all-state, and she was on our 4x1 that qualified for area. And closing out the group tonight is Hannah Zwiebel. She's here tonight. She's a sophomore. She qualified in the 4x4 and the 800. She was the 800 district champ for our district in the 8. So there's your Lady Cat post-district qualifiers. A lot of juniors and sophomores, and of course our freshmen up there that are coming back. And I totally expect to see y'all again next year with these groups, and they're going to bring some friends with them. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Coach Osher. Next up, we've got the Bobcat track team led by Truman Rangit.
I'd like to thank all of you for having us out, your parents for showing up, and being my first year at San Angelo Central. This was a really special group. You know, anytime you're new somewhere, there's a transition, especially going from a smaller school to a bigger school like Central, and this group of guys was a big part of that transition and helping me and us building a relationship as it went on. So I'd like to thank them for that. Before we get to their accolades, these are all great young men outside of who they are as an athlete, and I think that's the thing that they can be the most proud of, and I know as a coach, the thing that I'm the most proud of. Tonight we have Jordan Weatherspoon, who's a senior, one of our leaders. He did high jump to start. He ran all 3 of our relays and was a big part of us when we went to Austin to the Texas relays, and you run against the nation's fastest. We ran a personal best on 2 out of our 3 relays, and he was a big part of that. Next, we have Landon Eubanks, who ran the Open 100, also the 4x1, and stepped up and ran the 4x2 for us this year. He was a guy, I knew the Open 100 was his race, but he actually said, Coach, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help the team. We pulled him out of the 100. He ran the 4x2, and I said, I think we can do all 3 of it. It's a quick turnaround. You don't have much break. And he ended up going to regionals and running all 3 of those races. So that was kudos to him for stepping up and doing that. Then we have Riley Mendoza, who's a pole vaulter for us, who had a PR of 13.6 this year. He'll definitely be missed. Those pole vault guys are really hard to find. So hopefully we've got the next one groomed. We have Colton Gossett, who ran the Open 100 and 4x1 for us. He'll be a senior next year, looking for big things out of him. Then we have Jamison Gerardo, who was one of our distance runners, and he was able to make it to area, improved as the season went on. And then we have Nathaniel Palos, who's only a sophomore, another guy who ran the 800 and the mile, and we were missing a leg off of our 4x4, which you know is the last race. It's the Super Bowl of the track meet. It's the last thing that everybody, you're trying to get that last 20 points to win. And we asked him to step out of the mile and to go run 1 lap as fast as he could, and ended up running a couple 51s for us, which is really fast. To help that group out. So some very selfless kids that did whatever it took to help this team, and that's something I'm extremely proud of. We're missing Tyler Hill tonight. As you've heard, it's a good thing that they're missing because it means they did a good job in the classroom, so they're doing something else right now. So we were missing Tyler Hill, who ran our relays, Jacob English, who broke the high jump record with 6'9". I think that one will probably stand for a while. Angel Rodriguez, who was a distance runner for us, and then a kid that we started on the JV, Alex Lindsay, and by the time we got to district, he got us 8 points in the long jump and running the 200. So huge of those guys to step up. We also had 5 academic all-state. First team was Jace Lassiter. Second team, Christopher Banks. Tyler Hill and Dylan Brown were honorable mention, and Jordan Weatherspoon was second team academic all-state. So all around a great group, academically, athletically, and great young men. This is your 2023 area and regional qualifiers.
Last and certainly not least, we have our Lady Cat softball team who had a historic season led by David Millsap.
Not, excuse me, I'm not sure if saving the best for last is appropriate, but I'm going to grab onto it. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to recognize this wonderful and amazing group of young ladies. As Coach Chant has mentioned, we have set history. This group ended up in 4th place in district in a very tough district, 2-6A. So we got matched up with the first place team out of El Paso. Okay. Numbers-wise, the odds were stacked against us, okay? After an hour delay because of an umpire mix-up, these girls, got into a juggling act. They started dancing, everything to get the nerves out of their system. Then they came out and they run-ruled the first-place team out of El Paso Eastwood. Could not be more proud of them. Okay, it's been 5 years since we made the playoffs. This is the first time we've ever gotten past the first round in the playoffs. Our area round matchup against South Lake Carroll did not go as well, but much like the other one, we ended up with a 2-hour lightning delay in the first game, an hour-and-a-half lightning delay in the second game. Came back and weren't able to catch up with basically a juggernaut. South Lake Carroll, the Lady Dragons, are still in the playoffs, and I would not be surprised if they headed to the state tournament. First off, if I could, in introductions, let me say that we have 2 of the most amazing coaches who stepped up in a major way. We were short 1 coach this year. My 2 assistants are Tabby Farmer and Josh Huffman. Now, if you would, allow me to introduce you these history makers. First of all, I'm sorry to say that because of the senior spotlight tonight, I'm missing 3 seniors, Lainey Crooks and Annalicia Garcia and Alyssa Rodriguez. They're on campus now being highlighted there. But who we do have present today, first of all, number 1, Alexis Bacurza. Alexis is a junior center fielder. Number 2, Tori Robertson. She's a freshman outfielder. Number 4, Emma Wilson, a junior outfielder. I have number 8, Kylie Banda, a sophomore utility player. This girl played more positions than you can imagine. I have number 10, Addie Dickerson, who is a freshman who played shortstop, played pitcher, and she played third base. I have number 11, Cicely Rodriguez. She's a sophomore catcher. Cicely Gutierrez. I'm sorry, Cicely. I looked wrong. Okay, and then number 13, Grayson Collins, sophomore, shortstop, and third base. And finally, number 15, Veronica Castro, who is a sophomore, first baseman and catcher. Again, losing only 3 seniors, we are exceptionally excited about next year and the possibilities with the folks coming off the JV and some fresh blood coming in the freshman ranks. We're hoping that this history is going to be a string of playoff appearances and going even further than the first round. All right, this is the 2023 by-district champions area qualifiers, San Angelo Central Softball.
Come on up, parents, if you want to. Come on. Come on up, Mom.
Coach Chant. Now you're on the reverse side, if you'll come on up. And Dr. Detloff, would you please come as well? If you'll please take center stage, center X, center, front and center. Thank you both. Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, at this time, it is my honor to recognize Coach Rodney Chant. The Texas High School Athletic Directors Association will recognize their top administrators of the year on Sunday, June 11th, in conjunction with their state conference and professional development convention. In addition, 4 members will have an additional honor during this ceremony. Coach Chant is one of 4 to be inducted in the Hall of Honor class for 2023. This esteemed honor is for dedicated service, leadership, and special contributions to local and regional levels of interscholastic athletic administration. On behalf of all SAISD athletics and SAISD, we thank you, Coach Chant, for your service and leadership in SAISD and across the state. If you'll please join me in recognizing Coach Rodney Chant.
Good evening, Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board. Next, we have on our list to recognize indoor percussion. Unfortunately, we had a conflict of schedule, so indoor percussion will be here in June for us to recognize them. Tonight, we honor an outstanding community partner and supporter of public education and literacy, the United Way of the Concho Valley. This dedicated group fights for the education, health, financial stability of all individuals in the 14 counties of the Concho Valley, including many SAIC families. Today, we recognize the United Way for their partnership and support of our San Angelo Reads community-wide literacy initiative. Like San Angelo ISD, the United Way understands the importance of reading, and through their program, United We Read, promotes reading to and with children. In April, United Way supported us by providing over 1,000 copies of the book, A Bad Case of Stripes, by David Shannon to gift to each one of our San Angelo ISD second graders, along with a fun activity for our students, so they could create, supporting our learner profile attributes. Importantly, they also provided us with Spanish language copies to provide for our bilingual second graders. That's a book in the hands of kids to take home and to continue inspiring a love of reading. United the Way of the Concho Valley CEO and President, Ashley Ammons, also joined us for a read aloud at Goliad Elementary that day. Tonight, we thank the United Way of the Concho Valley, President and CEO, Ashley Ammons, Director of Community Impact and Engagement, Cameron Cummings, and Marketing and Events Manager, Crystal Jansa. Cameron, if you'll come forward, and Dr. Detloff.
Good evening, Mr. Parker and distinguished members of the board. We are blessed to be able to continue with the theme of thankfulness this evening. We are so proud to live in a community where the spirit of generosity is alive and well, and it was wonderful to again see it in action on the annual Day of Giving, San Angelo Gives, powered by the San Angelo Area Foundation. Tonight, we would like to say thank you to our community for donating more than $4 million for worthy causes. Some of the funds from the generous donations made on San Angelo Gives Day directly support our SAISD students through our San Angelo Reads community-wide literacy initiative and several other initiatives at SAISD campuses. Please join us in thanking our generous community supporters and the San Angelo Area Foundation with a round of applause. And we're not finished. How incredibly appreciative we are and how important it is to have support of SAISD from our community to join in our mission of preparing future-ready graduates. We recognize that it is invaluable for our students and the district to foster relationships within our community. A little over a week ago, we had a wonderful showing of the spirit of coming together and of our West Texas generosity to celebrate our SAISD Difference Makers. For the second year, we celebrated SAISD Difference Maker Day in San Angelo, officially proclaimed by Mayor Gunter on Friday, May 5th. And our community partners showed up in a big way. Today, we extend our thanks and celebrate those community partners for joining us in lifting up our educators and all SAISD difference makers who make a difference in the lives of nearly 13,500 children every day, supporting the future of our community and nation. Community partners started by welcoming SAISD employees outside of the district celebration with delicious breakfast burritos. And then each campus and department had a community partner provide their team with goodies. We had 31 community partners who joined us on Difference Maker Day by providing a little extra appreciation and gratitude for our 2,000 SAISD team members. We'd like to thank all of these businesses: Atmos Energy Corporation, Cecil A. Ross Investment and Insurance Group, Chris Galban Allstate Insurance, Concho Educators Federal Credit Union, Concho Valley Retired Teachers Association, Conterra Networks, Cruz Spices, Double Dave's, Eagle Safety Management, Elite Oilfield Services, Ernst Automotive, Gandy Inc., Howard College, Kerbo's Office Systems, L&J Roofing, Lamar Advertising of San Angelo, Lee Lewis Construction, Mammoth Roofing, Medical Arts Pharmacy, MHMR of the Concho Valley, San Angelo Federal Credit Union, San Angelo Studios, San Angelo Medical Center, Texas Trust Credit Union, Ultimate Air Trampoline Park, Unified Security Systems, United Way of the Concho Valley, Vexus Fiber, West Texas Rehab, and finally YMCA of San Angelo. These community partners answered a call, and we are so thankful. Please join us in giving them a round of applause in appreciation of their support of public education, SAISD, and our SAISD difference makers.
Good evening, Mr. Parker, Dr. Detloff, members of the board. After board election and any required canvass, the presiding officer shall prepare a certificate of election for each candidate who is elected to an office for which the official result has been determined. At this time, Mr. Parker will prepare the certificates. Newly elected and appointed trustees, before taking the oath or affirmation of office and entering upon the duties of the office, shall sign the required officer statement. The statement shall be retained with the official records of the office. Board members will now sign the officer statements. Certificates of election have been prepared for candidates elected to single-member districts 5, 6, and the at-large position and provided to the board. After the officer's statement has been signed and certificates of election have been issued, but before entering upon the duties of the office, the trustee shall take the oath or affirmation of office and shall file it with the president of the board. The oath may be administered in multiple ways, but tonight, the oath will be administered and a certificate of fact provided by Tom Green County Judge Lane Carter. Before Judge Carter administers the oaths, board members would like the opportunity to share thoughts regarding Mr. Parker's service to our district.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Appreciate the opportunity. We had a reception previously for Mr. Parker earlier in the evening, and so much was said then. But his accomplishments are so much more. In my old age, I've gotten a little sentimental, so you'll have to excuse me if I choke up. But anyway, the characteristics that describe Mr. Parker are honesty, integrity, incredible service to the community. He has served this district well for over 18 and a half years, and as a member of the board for the last 13, Mr. Parker has provided some true stability as well as sustainability to the district as we move forward in the future. He's set examples for me, has been a mentor to me for policy, procedure, and also just general action in the way you treat people. He's so kind and considerate. And I'm not sure that I can put it into words, but somebody earlier mentioned in the previous statements that we're blessed to have a rare treasure that serves this board.
I'll go. Or did you want to go? Okay, I'll go. Since I didn't make a video, I forgot to do that. Max, I just want to let you know that it's been an honor serving with you for the last 18 years, and I think we were discussing this after your little reception. Taylor and I, or Bill, said I'm going to be here longer than you. So, but we went through a lot on this board from the very beginning, from staying here till 1 o'clock in the morning, from 5:30 to 1. And of course, Dr. Bonds got here and we changed that very quick. But one thing I was just remembering back, we went to a conference. It was what was it called? The one in Santa Fe. No. Yeah, Center for Reforms of School Systems. I remember both of us sitting there watching the video that they provided of a school district here in the state with a very dysfunctional board. And I remember watching that. And both me and you were sitting there watching that video with everyone that was there at that conference. And I think the part that hit both of us was you had these grown adults sitting there arguing like 5-year-olds during a board meeting. And it got ugly. It was very ugly. And but in the middle of all that, they show kids at school. They show little ones from kindergarten all the way to high school, things that they should be focused on, but they were busy not moving forward because of the bickering and the arguing. And I remember both of us decided that day that we're not going to sit there and argue over stuff till 1 o'clock in the morning. We're going to figure out a way to do these board meetings to where we're out of there by 8:30, at least 8:30. And we did that. That was the first thing we did together. And from that point on, there were a lot of things that we did with this board. And, you know, you were there as a personal friend for me through a lot of stuff that I've gone through while on this board. And I appreciate you for being there. And, you know, I was thinking today, I said, if anyone asks me why I didn't do a video, my answer is, you know what? I'm going to see Max all the time, or at least I'm going to be calling Max all the time. So, but it's been an honor serving with you. It really has. And you're going to be missed. You will be missed. So, my friend.
Well, I haven't spent a lot of time with Max on the board, 6 months, but I'm going to share a story as an educator, as a teacher. Many years ago, he sent one of his sweet, precious girls into the door, through the door of Glen Middle School, and she did not want to be there. She wanted to be homeschooled. She made it very obvious. She was scared. She was just the sweetest little thing, and Max entrusted us, the teacher, to educate and to love his child. I still remember that day, and for that I will be eternally grateful for people like him that do trust the teacher.
So, a lot of nice things have been said about Max, and they're all deserved. I'm gonna stay in that vein. But when I got on the board 6 years ago, Max was one of the first people to reach out to me and make me feel welcome on the board, even though I think I took the spot of one of his good friends and someone he'd been on the board with for a long time. And all the nice things that have been said about Max, they all really boil down to the fact that he has been a leader and a consensus builder with the servant's heart the entire time he's been doing this. And he and I don't always agree on everything, but he always has the students of SISD and this community in the forefront of his mind and in the forefront of his heart. And for that, San Angelo and the school district should forever be grateful to Max Parker.
Parker, you know me. Mr. Parker, thank you so much for the 18 years service to San Angelo ISD, and I really, really appreciate to be a great mentor to me, to help me and guide me, and I'm so blessed and honored to serve with you in the last 2 years. Thank you so much.
I didn't know we were going to do this again, so we did this at the reception. So I just want to say, I know we've got other things to do tonight. I'm about to go off here on the podium and be my last time in 18 and a half years, and it's been an honor. It's been an honor serving our community and serving our district. It's been an honor to be with all the board members that are here now and board members that have been in the past. And there comes Amy as another one. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate all of you for what I said downstairs, is that even though we don't always agree, we respect each other. We treat each other with respect. And all of you have a heart for children, for students. We always try to do the best thing for all our students, and sometimes that's difficult decisions because we can't make every parent happy or every student happy, but we have to try to do what's for the greater good for our district and all the students, and sometimes that means making very difficult decisions. But all of you have stepped up when we have to make those big decisions, and you're to be commended for being on the board, and I look forward to being available if you need me, but Dr. Kyle is going to be sworn in a few minutes, and I know he's going to do a great job, and I know you as board members are going to continue to do a great job and represent our district well. So thank you again. I'll say this for the whole community. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on the board for this long time. And thank you for all you board members and administrators. I shouldn't have left you out. Our administrators, including Dr. Gomez, Dr. Detloff, and all our administrators that I've worked with in the past, for all you've done for our district. So God bless you all.
At this time also, Dr. Brandon, I'd just like to recognize Mr. Parker for his steward leadership over the last 18 and a half years, and I will forever remember him as the great connector. So he is the glue that holds San Angelo together and has helped us overcome many obstacles, challenging moments, and has caused us great celebration as we really look at our kids at campuses from kindergarten through 12th grade. So it's just been a delight to serve next to Mr. Parker, and at this time I would like for us to give him a round of applause and perhaps a standing ovation. Okay, Dr. Brandon, we'll let you take over, sir. We have a few more formal steps in the process.
Judge Carter, if you could please come forward, and if we could have Mrs. Duncan, Mr. Gallegos, and Dr. Mills, please come forward and join Judge Carter.
Can you raise your right hand after me? I solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of School Board Trustee for the San Angelo Independent School District of the State of Texas, and will do to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. Congratulations.
As board members return to their seats, we want to thank Judge Carter for his assistance this evening. Section 11.061 of the Texas Education Code requires that the officers of the board be selected at the first meeting after the election and qualification of trustees. The board shall elect a president, vice president, secretary, and a treasurer. At this time, Mr. Bill Dindle, current vice president of the Board of Trustees, will lead the board in selection of officers.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Appreciate you. As Vice President of the Board, I'd like to welcome Mr. Gerard Gallegos back for another term after 18.5 years. Appreciate your service to the board and your continued service to the board. We appreciate that. Ms. Pam Duncan, who's been with us for 5 months, is now going to be with us for another 4 years. We certainly appreciate your service, Ms. Duncan, and thank you for choosing to serve the kids in San Angelo in this district. And also Dr. Kyle Mills is our newest member. Thank you, Dr. Mills, for stepping up and assuming responsibility of helping us educate the kids here in San Angelo. We appreciate your help. Thank you. I'd like to move on with nominations for the slate of officers, and I'd like to put forth a motion to nominate Dr. Taylor Kingman as president, Ms. Amy Mizell Flint as vice president, Mr. Gerard Gallegos as secretary, and myself, Bill Dindle, as treasurer, as a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Duncan. There's been a motion and a second. Is there any public comment concerning this item? Any additional board comment? If not, then I'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Our motion passes. I'd like to pass the gavel to our new president, Dr. Taylor Kingman. Thank you.
And Mr. Wilcox, are we okay with the cameras, with our placements? Okay, thank you.
All right, I have not been doing this for 18 years, so y'all bear with me. And thank you, board, for letting me serve in this position. Okay, so we're going to start with our regular agenda for this evening, which will start with the minutes from both our April 10th pre-agenda workshop and our April 17th regular board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move for approval.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Dindle and a second from Mr. Gallegos. All in favor? Oh, yeah, sorry. Public comment for that would be, before we vote on that. Anyone have public comment on our minutes? Okay, I don't see anyone going, so with no one making a public comment, now, all in favor? All against? Motion for minutes passes. We are now going to do public comments for topics not on the agenda for this meeting. And I have several people that have signed up. Mr. Parker read our script from before the meeting started, but just in brief, remember that anything not on the agenda we cannot respond to, and other than to say thank you for being here, and also please try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. All right, first will be Karina Sanchez.
Hello, how are you guys? Thank you for having us here and listening. As you guys might remember me from last Monday, my name is Karina Sanchez. I have a kid that goes to Glenmore Elementary in the bilingual program. I bet you guys are tired of hearing us. But us as parents, we're not going to stop talking about it. These kids are benefiting from this program. Like I told you guys last week, I was born in Mexico and brought to the United States when I was 2 years old. I did not know any English when I got here. I grew up in a bilingual program, and it helped me tremendously, like I told you guys. I am the only Spanish-speaking person at my job, and they need me there because we have a lot of Spanish-speaking patients. And it has helped me, and I'm proud of that, for my doctor allowing me to speak Spanish. Answering phones when somebody is only Spanish-speaking, they call me right away. That makes me proud to be a Spanish-speaking person. I know I don't have a lot of time, and I'm gonna read a letter that one of the moms wrote from Glenmore. It's in Spanish, but I'll translate it for you guys. He says, "Good afternoon, my name is Karina Martinez, and I am one of the many moms who only speak Spanish, and also with kids that their first language is only Spanish. I am a mom of 2 kids, a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old little girl. When my little boy, my 10-year-old little boy, first got to Glenmore, they did not offer the bilingual program at Glenmore. And that was a very difficult year for me and for him because we only spoke Spanish. Whenever my little girl, Eliza, started going to Glenmore, then they were offering the program. And you have no idea what a great difference this made for my little girl, my little boy, and myself. My little girl knows how to read, write in English and in Spanish now. She is beginning to enunciate words a lot better. She knows how to read and write, and many more things. Excuse me. And last but not least, we have a lot of wonderful teachers at Glenmore who are dedicated to teaching and being in this bilingual program. And they do an excellent job teaching our children in English and in Spanish. And me, that I am a mother, I'm asking you please to reconsider your decision and please to give us permission to keep this wonderful program at Glenmore because it is helping all of our children and giving them wonderful chances when they grow up. Over just today, not even the weekend, we have a ton of signatures petitioning, and it's not even just parents from Glenmore. We have spoken to the community about this, and they are with us. They agree that kids need to know a second language. Not only, like I said last week, we are in the United States of America. We need to know English, I agree, but we also need to know Spanish or another language. So I please ask you as well to reconsider this and please keep the program at Glenmore. It'll open up a ton of opportunities for our children, more than us as parents ever had when we were growing up. So please, please reconsider your decision. And last but not least, I have a few moms who have told me just today that the director of the bilingual program, they have felt like she is manipulating them into changing their decision. And that's coming from other moms. I have not met with her myself yet, but that is coming from other moms. And since they don't speak the language fully, they wanted me to let you guys know that, and that they do not trust her anymore. Because we have heard from several moms that last year it seemed like she was picking and choosing kids, for the program. I have a mom who told me that her little girl only knew Spanish and she was not chosen for the program. And now she's having a difficulty learning English and speaking and writing. I have another mom who told me her daughter knew English and hardly any Spanish, but she got chosen for the program. So please take that into consideration in how she's going about this program. And please reconsider your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sanchez. Next, we have Ms. Sarah Rios.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sara Rios. I was born in Mexico. I arrived here when I was 9 years old, along with my family, 2 siblings and my parents. When I got here to the U.S., I spoke 0 English. My family spoke 0 English. The only things or words, if they're even words, I knew were my numbers from 1 through 10, and that's because my dad, who spoke very, very, very slight English, was the one who taught them to me. When I started school here in the U.S., I started in 3rd grade. I was terrified. I was so shy. I didn't want to speak to anyone. I felt embarrassed that I couldn't communicate with anyone. And this was not me. I was a very bubbly child. I loved to make friends, but that language barrier always stopped me. Thanks to the wonderful program that we had back then, and that is now also in effect, I was able to join that program or enrolled in that program, which was a bilingual ESL program. And after being there only 6 months, with the help of the wonderful bilingual ESL teachers and their help and me pushing myself, I was able to take all of my tests, my TOS test, which now is STAR testing, all in English. I was doing my homework with no help at home in English, and I was conversating with people in English. Now, the bilingual teachers always told me to keep speaking Spanish, and now I am thankful that they pushed that on me. At home, I started speaking a lot of English, but my teachers were always pushing me for Spanish and Spanish and Spanish. And I am thankful that I was enrolled in that program up into 6th grade, because now, thanks to that, I am able to help others. I'm able to help my patients at work. I am a Spanish speaker, and whenever they need help, I'm there to help them. When there's phone calls and they need translation, I'm there to help them. And I'm thankful for that, because I know that language barrier can stop people from, or hold back from expressing themselves. I don't have any kids here enrolled in that bilingual program. I don't have any kids myself, but I have a niece that is enrolled in that program. I have seen the benefits that she's had. She's fluent in Spanish, she's fluent in English, but she always chooses to speak Spanish, and I'm proud of that. My mom doesn't speak English, so I'm glad that my niece is able to communicate with her grandmother and express her love to her in that language that they both speak. So I ask for you guys to please reconsider that decision, because it's not only about my niece, it's about all the kids there at Glenmore Elementary that their heart, it speaks Spanish. And to all the parents that are here, listen to them. Give them an opportunity to have a future like I did, because thanks to that program, I'm where I am at. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Rios. We now have Ms. Viviana Perez also speaking on the bilingual program.
Good evening. My name is Viviana Perez. I'm a parent from the bilingual program at Glenmore. I'm here to speak on behalf of the parents who don't speak English and myself. We are deeply concerned on the fact that the bilingual program is only going to be offered at Bradford, which overall has a low academic performance, and how the Hispanic children are going to be segregated by race, poverty, and language background. Bradford has 83.3% Hispanic, according to the 2022 school report card, 10.1% white, 44% approach grade level or above, 14% meets grade level or above, 4% meets grade level. 88.4% is economically disadvantaged, 26.6% are English learners. Our children are not going to be challenged in a school with those numbers, and I am sure you wouldn't send your children there either. If Bradford already has a high percentage of Hispanic students, and bilingual classes from Glenmore are added to that percentage, would you consider that to be segregation? Segregated schools score poorly. Schools are more segregated by race and poverty than at the beginning of the century. This reality is extremely harmful to students, including white students, who tend to become better educated and prepared for life in our increasingly diverse society when they attend racially diverse schools. Education leaders need to understand that school diversity isn't just a civil rights issue. It also leads to better education for all children. Children learn more in diverse settings. School integration significantly increases college and job success for students of color and even related to improvements in health. White students lose nothing. Children of color gain significantly, and both become better prepared for a diversifying society. Most affluent white and Asian students attend schools where the parents are college graduates, teachers are experienced, and administrators have excellent reputation and tend to remain in these schools. The children's family have resources and experiences uncommon in other parts of town. And everyone assumes all students should be prepared for college. Black and Latino children, by contrast, are usually concentrated in schools where the parents have less resources and education, and where teachers tend to have little experience and frequently transfer out of those schools. Most of the students in these schools are poor. Many are children of immigrant families who don't speak English at home. This educational divide produces inequality by race, poverty, and language background. In schools serving mostly students of color, there are more kids who struggle in schools, so teachers have to devote extra energy to catching them up. Differences in schools' experiences and reputations are well known. Teachers transfer systematically to middle-class, largely white schools where it's simple, easier to teach. Segregation, in short, leads to a destructive system, one that gives the least to the students who rely on school the most, and one that develops children inequality. So with that being said, please take into consideration the school report card for Bradford from 2022. I mean, I could go on with this, but it's just a lot. So I sent it on an email. No, I went over it with the superintendent. I gave him copies of both of the school reports from Glenmore and Bradford. And like I said, we're just concerned about the fact that this is segregation. The children, the Hispanic children who are that you guys are trying to move to Bradford, and I mean, Bradford already has 83.3% as of we speak, Hispanics. Adding more to that is segregation, and that will affect our children in a way that, I mean, I'm sure you wouldn't like your children be put in a school like this with those numbers. And like I just said, and it's from an article, I mean, it's not something that I made up. There's been research, so many things, you know, the bad things that this has an effect on those kids. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Perez. We now have Mr. Max Parker on the bilingual program.
Go off the board and I come back. First time I've spoken in public comment in over 18 years. When we're on the board, we can't give public comment. My name is Max Parker. I'm speaking not to argue with anybody that's spoken. Everybody has articulately and eloquently given their positions, but we as a board have not been able to answer because this has not been an agenda item. So I wanted to let everyone know that might be watching this what went into this decision. For years, we've learned that children that need to be reading at grade level by third grade, and if they don't get reading by grade level in third grade, they're going to get behind. So we've asked our administration to do everything they can to make that happen. A few years ago, started adding pre-K classes, knowing that more children that start in pre-K, the better chance they'll be able to read at third grade level by third grade. Many children don't go to pre-K, even though we've made it available. This year, we're trying to make even more pre-K classes available for even those that are not low socioeconomic, that still want to get their children into pre-K and they can't afford private pre-K, are going to have that opportunity to have to get into tuition-based pre-K, and our campuses this year at a much reduced rate. It also gives some of our teachers the opportunity to get their children in pre-K. There's going to be many campuses that are going to be upset that they're not going to have a pre-K program on their campuses. We're only going to have 4 campuses, Bel Air, Glenmore, Goliad, and San Jacinto. They're going to have pre-K. Glenmore has given up the bilingual program for their students, but Bradford's going to have to give up pre-K. So there's going to be many parents that I'm sure that are going to say, why can't we have pre-K on our campus? Just like some of these are saying, why can't we have bilingual on our campus? But we've also learned that if we can put more classrooms of each grade, like more pre-K classrooms, more than just one, but 4 or 5 classrooms of pre-K students, then we have 4 or 5 pre-K teachers that are able to collaborate to get better ideas. We're able to better fund those programs, give them more things to do, and that'll make our pre-K stronger. It also allows our early childhood special ed children that are 3 and 4-year-olds to be on certain campuses, and they're only going to be on 3 of those campuses, Bel Air, Goliad, and San Jacinto, to be able to integrate into those pre-K classes with maybe 2 or 3 to a class than trying to integrate 8 into a class of already 20, and you can't put 8 special ed children in a class of 20 if you only had 1 pre-K class. So we think this is also going to make it better for our early childhood special education. There'll probably be some of the special ed persons saying, why can't we have special ed on our campus? But there's only 1 special ed class in all our district, and that's at Reagan for elementary students all the way through 9th grade, and only 1 special ed class in our whole district, and that's at Lakeview for full need special ed once they're in high school. Many of you know we have magnet programs for our GT programs at Fort Concho, Santa Rita, and Holloman. Bradford's going to be the magnet school for our bilingual program, where we'll have several classes of bilingual. Our teachers can collaborate there. This is a voluntary program. None of the parents have to take their children to Bradford. We have English second language teachers on every one of our elementary campuses that teach children that don't know how to speak English. The advantage to the bilingual is we teach them Spanish first, then English, English special, English second language. They have to go right into English. We think it's better that we do the bilingual, but that's going to be at Bradford. Any parent does not have to go to Bradford, but if they do, we think you're going to get a better program. Once your child gets to be able to read in 3rd grade, and we think this is the fastest way that they can learn to read at 3rd grade level, then you can go back to any campus you want to. You're not tied down to Bradford. So we have our mariachi programs at Lakeview. A lot of people saying, why did we shut it down in Central? Because we wanted to put it on 1 campus where we had the most students. Bradford is where we had most of our bilingual students. That's why we're putting them there. I know this is not going to make everybody happy, but we have to do the best thing for all our students in our district. This is one way that we're trying to do it. Hopefully, as it was with the mariachi program, over the years, people will understand that. They'll support the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. And we have one final participant sign up, Ms. Anna Cribb. And Mr. Parker gave me a reminder, if you'll please introduce yourself when you get up there so that we have it for the record and for the people watching on TV. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anna Cribb, and I hope you can hear me well. I have been teaching for 34 years. And when I say teaching, I have been giving my life to my career and to my children. And I know that sometimes when we are speaking about what is happening to us and about how we feel, I know that I can tell when my children are listening, and I can tell when they are paying attention, and I can tell also when other people are really pretending that they are listening. So I will invite you to take down the wall and see our feelings. I invite you to feel what we are feeling. We are not just talking about a regular pre-Ks. We are not talking about other programs. We are talking about children with feelings. We are talking about families who are going through a lot. I have been given a lot. I have put my career first before my family because this is what I love. I care for my children. So whenever they decided to have the bilingual program at Glenmore, I was extremely happy because I was going to give me the opportunity to teach my children the language, my language. I grew up in Mexico until I moved here when I was like 20, 21 years old. So I know what it is like. The very first thing I noticed when I moved to this country was the very, very low self-esteem that a lot of our Hispanic children have. That self-esteem that they have is because of the way we treat them. We do not treat them fairly. And you can tell me 1,000 different things, but in my heart, I know that they are the target. When I started teaching, they closed Sam Houston because the school was segregated. They had too many Hispanics. They had to send those kids somewhere else. Well, those children didn't feel segregated because their neighborhood, it was just Hispanics, and that was the school. Well, we did fight it. The district did what they wanted. Our children, our Hispanic children, were thrown all the way around town just because they wanted them to be included with other people. They wanted them to learn about the world, about the differences that we have. Now we are doing the opposite. We need to serve the two sides of town because we don't have Hispanic kids only on the north side of town. We have them over here by Glenmore. And whenever we are just having it in one school, we are denying that program to the other kids that live in our neighborhood. Those children are not going to go to Bradford because it's difficult for them. It's difficult for the parents. You know, you don't have to go through what I go through every day. Since these children notice, they notice the parents talking. The parents are worried about, what am I going to do with my child? How can I take my child to the school? It's too far away. Do I have to choose between my job and taking my child to that school? That is not right. This is getting to the children. I have children who come to me. They say, teacher, I have nightmares. I dream that they took me away from my friends. I know you have children, and you don't have children, little ones. I know you have grandchildren. I really want you to go and look at your children, your grandchildren, and think, if my child was brown, if my child was Hispanic, if my child could not speak the English language, and this was happening to my child, how would I feel? Please think about that. Because what is happening to my people, to my children, is not right. I had until Friday to decide whether or not I wanted to go to Bradford, and I wanted to wait until tonight. I am going to retire, not because I want to, just because of the stress or the pain that I had to go through when I see my family suffering. And I know that whomever made this decision, probably they were not thinking about people. Maybe they were just thinking about something else. We have a heart, we have feelings, just like you. Even though we are different colors, we speak different languages, we feel the same. So I had to say goodbye to San Angelo ISD. I had to say goodbye to my children. Why? Because I do not agree with what is happening to them. And if I were to move to Bradford, I would be part of that decision, and I don't want to be, because I know how it feels like, and I know what they're going to go through for the rest of their lives. Because you know that segregating the kids into a single school with so many problems already is not good for them. You can do a research, you can Google it, and you're going to find thousands of articles that talk about the same thing. Thank you very much. And like I said, I am so glad that I worked for San Angelo ISD for 32 years, 2 years in Ballinger teaching high school, 32 years teaching kindergarten. Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish that I could say goodbye to the district under different circumstances. It's not that way. And I know that I don't have any more time, but I really want to say this teeny tiny little poem by Emily Dickinson. The poem goes like this, 2 lines. I am nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? That's the way I feel when these things happen to us, to my people. We are nobody. But that's not your case. You are the ones who make the decisions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Cribb. All right, now we're going to go ahead and move into our agenda. Everyone's good to keep going? Yes? Okay. So we're going to start with some reports. First report is a construction update from Mr. Jason Hendry.
Dr. Detloff, new president, board president, Dr. Kingman. Tonight I have Hector De Santiago from Park Hill, and he's going to discuss our sustainability program.
Good evening, President Kingman and Board of Trustees and Dr. Detloff. I am Hector De Santiago with Park Hill Smith & Cooper. I'm a firm principal, and I just want to go ahead and give you an update on what is happening with the projects we are helping the district with. With McGill Elementary School, we are happily getting to the finish line. We are scheduled to go ahead and complete construction documents later this month on the 26th. And we have also submitted the building permit application for that project, even though we're not done with it. That's typically the case when we finish a project is when we submit it. But in order to go ahead and get reviewed by the 2015 IBC Family of Codes, we needed to do that by May 5th. So we were getting the documents as finished as much as we could by that date in case we did need to go ahead and submit them by that time. Also, vacation of existing alleys and easements is in progress as well. And then as far as what I mentioned, we'll be finished with design at the end of this month. We have a page turn review meeting with district personnel tomorrow, and looking forward to just wrapping that up. We expect to go ahead and issue those documents late in May and then receive bids in June. This is just a rendering, conceptual rendering of the McGill Elementary School, the front main entry, just so you can get an idea of what it could look like. We're still in the process of starting to think about material colors and brick colors and all that stuff, but in general, this is the form of it. I'd like to also give you an update on the Fanning Elementary School. Obviously, that bid, we finalized those documents early March. It bid in late March, and it's been in the progress of plan review, but we do have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for tomorrow with Justice Construction. And I think the only thing that's still pending on the permit review is the fire department. And but the civil plans have been reviewed, thus site work can begin. So that's where we're really excited to get that going and see the progress on that. And then just lastly, we've been coordinating back and forth with the district attorney on the contracts for Justice Construction, and we sent them some markups on it last week, so we expect that to be completed not too long from now. Hopefully, sometime this week might be seeing those back. But we do have a little bit of time because the contractor can go ahead and start with the site work, and then and then go ahead and get them fully with the rest of the building. Just wanted to show you, remind you as far as the fanning, how it looks. Essentially, we went ahead and took precedence from the existing building. Want to go ahead and respect that look, but we also did incorporate a connecting corridor because obviously it's very hard to match brick from many years past. So we want to go ahead and have a separation at that location so that you can't see the difference. And pretty much that is all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, Mr. Santiago, so you said that we will be able to start site preparation?
Yes, and let me rephrase that. We will have a pre-construction meeting so that we can have the contractor kind of start getting all the paperwork, design schedule, and schedule values and things like that. Once we have the contract fully executed, then they can proceed.
Then they can start, okay.
Yes.
And then those pictures you were showing of McGill, was that, I guess if you can go back to the McGill, is that what's going to be seen from Sherwood Way or from?
That's from Mill Spa.
From Mill Spa?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
the view
So
from Mill
that's
Spa.
the side view, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and in
Thank you.
front of that will be a 32 parking space
Yeah.
parking lot and Parent Drive.
Okay.
Parent Drive.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Santiago.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any further questions for Mr. Santiago? Well, thank you for driving down. You out of Lubbock?
Personally, I'm from El Paso. I'm a firm principal. I help out wherever.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for driving the 6 hours from El Paso.
Happy to do it. I really been enjoying working with Jason on this project and look forward to seeing it start.
All right. Well, thank you. If no one has any further questions, move forward. Second in our reports is our student enrollment report for the 32nd Monday of school. Mr. Brandon, anything on that you wanted to point out?
We are hoping to see some leveling, as we've kind of seen the student attendance drop. We've been monitoring that, and so that has slowed. So we are hopeful as we look to the graduating classes, small groups of seniors, and then if we can match the type of kindergarten, pre-kindergarten numbers that have come in a year ago, we hope to see that number stabilize, which I thought was good news. So we'll keep an eye on it from here this last couple of weeks of school and hopefully be able to report that as well in June.
Perfect. Anyone have any questions on that report? All right, thank you. So now we're going to have Dr. Farah Gomez for an update on academic programs.
Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, and members of the board, this evening's academic update is regarding professional learning. With the 2023-2024 school calendar, trade days remain for all staff, as you all are very aware. In order to support high-quality professional learning, SAISD has released information for the district's two largest professional learning opportunities in the summer. One referred to as Learning Palooza, and Learning Palooza this summer is July 18th, 19th, and 20th, and the other is titled People, Purpose, Passion. That can be a lot to say at one time, for our non-instructional staff on July 25th and July 26th. For Learning Palooza and our instructional staff, we have many of our very own SAISD educators who present, plus our thought partners that we use on a regular basis for our SAISD curriculum resources over highly effective instructional practices. Sessions for Learning Palooza will include support in all content areas from reading, writing, math, science, and then are expanded to career and technical education, safety, behavior, and the list goes on and on. It's very important in SAISD that we allow staff to have opportunity for input in their professional growth and goals, so they do select sessions that they wish to attend through conversations with their campus leadership, principals and assistant principals. For People, Purpose, Passion, in that Customer Service Academy on July 25th and 26th for our non-instructional staff, we're bringing in 2 keynote speakers that we're very excited about. Marlena Valentine, and this next name I think many of you will recognize, Julie Sneers. So that entire Customer Service Academy is to support our staff that are often the very first to take those phone calls, to see our parents and our visitors as they come in the district. And we just wanted to give all of you kind of an update in this area and invite you, further reminders will come out, but to invite you based on your availability to stop by at either of these learning opportunities for our staff. Staff sign up and these close June 30th, so there's still time. We wanted to provide that. And additionally, in the April regular board meeting, we shared about elementary STEM and our STEM camps. Since then, we've been able to find staff that also will support us offering a STEM camp this summer for middle school as well. So we're excited to have both the STEM camp opportunities in July for elementary and expand that to middle school, and wanted to provide you with that update this evening. Do you have any questions I can answer?
I was going to ask you this, Farrah. When you said STEM for the middle schools and all that, I know they get a lot of it in elementary and middle, but at the high school level, do they have something for STEM for high school? And then also, have y'all checked in, like if we have kids that want to do this, say the UIL, they do have UIL competition for like robotics and stuff like that. Have y'all checked into that?
We have, and ongoing conversations have been taking place even with Ethicon, who's one of our great community partners. And as you know, Ethicon has expanded even their scholarship opportunities with our students this semester. So earlier in the semester, we met with Ethicon and some of their key leaders on potentially expanding UIL robotics. So those conversations are ongoing. As you know, Mr. Gagos, from many years of serving, by the time our students get to high school, they do have to begin to start making some choices on extracurricular. So one example in the area of STEM, and specifically cybersecurity, cyber patriots, that is an area that also follows that track. We had it at both Lakeview and at Central, and those students participated in a variety of ways. Some were after school, some were during kind of the lunch hour, but trying to provide that flexibility for students who are also engaged in other extracurricular activities.
Any further questions for Dr. Gomez? All right. Farrah, thank you for giving us that update. So Dr. Detloff, partnership with Goodfellow Air Force Base.
Yes, sir. Dr. Kingman, I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Rayleigh Self, and she has a highlight for us and a special guest, I believe, as well. And Commander Self, it is all yours.
Dr. Detloff, just as a point of reference, before Ms. Self reaches the podium, this is our last meeting with Mrs. Goodwin, Mrs. Teresa Goodwin, which is our Goodfellow liaison that's been with us for quite some time. We certainly appreciate her support and her relationship with us in Goodfellow Air Force Base. So thank you, Mrs. Goodwin. We appreciate that. We won't take your picture, but we would like to thank you.
Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, members of the board, it is my honor to introduce Mr. J.R. Orlando, who is from the Office of Public Affairs at Goodfellow Air Force Base, to provide a high-level overview of their honorary commander program. He's going to be talking about the objectives of the program itself and kind of go through some of the immersion events that we were able to participate in. I might have some pictures too to share with you all. And then I'll offer a reflection towards the end, and then JR will share some facts about Goodfellow Air Force Base before entertaining any questions. So I'm going to turn the floor over to him.
All right, Dr. Kingman, Dr. Detloff, board members, and Dr. Self, thank you very, very much for the opportunity to be able to talk about a program that we really are very proud about. Let me first off start by explaining that the Honorary Commander Program is not something that's unique to Goodfellow Air Force Base. It is something that's written into the Air Force instructions, which is how many facets of the Air Force are run. They're effectively the laws that the Air Force is run by. And so it's actually written into our AFI with public affairs that we, or commanders, should have a civic leader and honorary commander program. What is unique, at least as far as we understand, is the way that Goodfellow has decided to do it. And so to give you a little bit of background, when it comes to the Honorary Commander Program, it has existed for the whole time that I've been here, which is 6 years now. But we've had kind of varying experiences with the honorary commanders and with the squadron commanders that they've been connected to. The traditional model for the Honorary Commander Program is that Public Affairs canvasses the community, identifies suitable candidates, and then links them up with the individual squadrons that exist on base. So the squadrons could be the Security Forces Squadron, that are effectively our police force on base, the Civil Engineer Squadron, which are civil engineering, the city engineers, as it were. And so we would find people that do similar jobs or have similar careers, similar insights in the community, and attempt to link them up with those squadrons. To varying success. There were some absolute success stories, complete home runs, and then there were others where just because of PCSs, because of changing commanders, because of other duties that were happening within the community, their experience was not the same as the ones that were home runs. And so we took a look at the program and we decided that a change was needed. For a community like San Angelo, where our civic leader support is legendary across the Air Force and across the Department of Defense. On an average day at Goodfellow, you have a pretty decent chance of seeing a uniform from every armed service, which is incredible for a base this size. Goodfellow's history is actually owed to a trip that was taken by civic leaders from San Angelo in June of 1940 down to San Antonio to Randolph Field, where they made an appeal to the War Department, which was looking for bases to establish pilot training, and they made an appeal that that new base should be in San Angelo, Texas. So really, when you look at the history of Goodfellow Air Force Base, it owes its very existence to civic leaders. And so we have to continue that legacy. And that's one of the objectives of the Honorary Commander Program, and one of the reasons why we sought to kind of rejuvenate the program. So how did we decide to do this? What we understand, and we've been shouting this from the rooftops for about a year now, and we haven't run into anyone else that does it the way that we do, but I try not to deal in absolutes, so I don't want to kind of state on the record that we're the only base in the Air Force that is doing it this way. But as far as we understand, we are. So we have pulled the honorary commanders back from the individual squadrons, and we've made them instead wing honorary commanders, meaning that no longer are we dependent on personal relationships between squadron commanders and individual commanders, but rather we have centralized the honorary commanders and therefore standardized their experience across the board. So we modeled our program very much after the Chamber's Leadership San Angelo program and based it off of a 12-month schedule where we took the events and decided to run them from the wing level. By doing so, what we were able to do was get everyone on board and be able to give them the same experience regardless of their interactions. Then hoping at the end of it So if we can go back to the objectives of the program, so ultimately the goal is to increase that bond between the community and the base. We felt the only way that we could really do that was by changing that education and exposure that they were getting. So if you have a look at the second one, engage, educate, and empower community leaders to be unofficial spokespersons. So if we really want these honorary commanders, and this kind of starts getting into the who are the honorary commanders, we've been very lucky this year to have a really excellent cross-section of the city as our honorary commanders. This year we have 22 honorary commanders. The plan right now for next year is to have 17, a symbolic 17 for the 17th Training Wing. The idea is to have members from varying different organizations across the city, with the idea of them being able to get the education on our end and then go back to their place of business and also to their kind of extracurricular activities as well, and become ambassadors and engage with their publics and their stakeholders with the idea of trying to support the military and their families. So the way that we did that was by doing the immersions, which I'll get to in a second. But ultimately, the goal was to set San Angelo up for the future in terms of future civic leaders. We recognized that there was potential for there not to be this next generation of civic leader ready to step up when our current civic leaders decide that the time is up and they want to move on to other things. So we had to set up the next generation, as it were, of civic leader and make sure that they were well positioned to be able to serve the military, Goodfellow Air Force Base, and the surrounding region. So if you have a look at the third element, and all three of these elements are verbatim out of our AFI, and that's just to show that this really isn't unique to us. It's just the way that we're doing things that makes it a little bit unique. But the civic leader program also exists on different levels. So if we actually have someone, and here's the developmental system, that they go through the 12 months of being an honorary commander. They then go back and really engage and get active and do all kinds of things that are great for Goodfellow Air Force Base, the Air Force, the Space Force, and the military. Then there's actually potential for them to serve at the Air Education Training Command level as a civic leader. And if they continue to make waves at that level, then there's even an element higher than that, and that's the Chief of Staff of the Air Force civic leader level. So there's even a progression system within the civic leaders, which is really, really cool for the potential civic leaders because they know that there's a chance for advancement within the system. So how did we go about this? We did that through the immersions. And what we did was we took something that we are extremely well practiced at, and that is taking these high-level distinguished visitors that come to Goodfellow because we're making news left and right with being just an incredible mission, incredible base that's doing great things. And we took one of those normal base visits that we do, usually in the space of a day, and we broke it up over 5 engagements by focusing on the 4 groups that make up the 17th Training Wing and giving them effectively an entire day to tell the story the way that they want to tell the story, which meant that we could take our 22 honorary commanders and just really fully immerse them in the story of the 17th Training Wing and what goes on at Goodfellow Air Force Base. By not trying to smash this all into one day, we really allowed them to get deep into all of the different facilities, the support, what goes on, how it works, to the extent that for the 17th Training Group, and in particular the 312th Training Squadron, which is responsible for the firefighting training mission at Goodfellow Air Force Base, we did so much that we ran out of time, and now we're arranging a part 2 to even go back and do some more. So the program itself has been an absolute smash hit success. And we started by giving a foundation layer of education by doing what we called Air Force 101, which just kind of explained the organization of the Air Force, the Department of Defense, how it all lines up, and where Goodfellow fits in the grand scheme of things, followed by a base tour where we were able to really show people that Goodfellow Air Force Base is very much like a small city that kind of runs itself within San Angelo. So we were able to kind of give them an orienteering, show them the base, and then dive into the groups so that they could really get into the mission of the 17th Training Wing. Now, of the progress that we've made, we're roughly about halfway on the slide right now. We have made some progress in trying to get the group out to California. That, again, is a first, trying to get the group of honorary commanders onto a military aircraft and get them all the way out to California. As I'm sure you can imagine, there are lots of hurdles to go with that one, so doing that the first time, we're all learning some lessons on that one. We've got the 17th Medical Group still coming up, and then another thing that we want to do, and we think this is paramount to what we're hoping to get out of the program as well, is an Air Force 101 Part 2. Now, the idea behind that is to go back and revisit what we said in the first place that may not have meant too much because you're kind of talking to people out of context, not with a lot of background information, but now they've gone through a 12-month program. They've understood what the 17th Training Wing is doing and the mission that it's trying to do and is succeeding at doing. And now Air Force 101 Part 2 is going to revisit that, revisit Goodfellow's position within the Department of Defense and what it's doing for getting people into today's fight and strategic competition with countries like Russia and China. And so Part 2 is pivotal to position our honorary commanders to be well equipped to go back to their place of business, to go back to their organizations, and be able to be educated and motivated and active ambassadors for Goodfellow Air Force Base. Then finally, we've got to get that cycle going again. So here in June, you're going to start seeing some advertising for the new period of 2023 to 2024 honorary commanders. In June, we will also be changing command, but regardless, the honorary commander program is going to continue. The application window will be open through the summer, and then the idea is in the fall, not only will we graduate the inaugural class of this version of honorary commanders, but at the same event, we will then induct the new class. So there very much is kind of this alumni greeting the new class, and it just flows into the next program. And each year, we start kind of producing these people that can go back out into the community and start really giving back to Goodfellow Air Force Base. Because that's what we hear from people. The feedback that we got from this program was A, what's next? And B, how can we get more? So we're trying to provide that. We're also working with the Chamber to potentially create a follow-on organization similar to an alumni program that will allow those that have already been through the program to kind of come together and work in numbers, because there is, after all, strength in numbers. But now we're going through some of the photos of some of the immersions that we went through. We have had such engagement from the groups. They have absolutely loved the fact that we put the storytelling elements really in their hands. It wasn't us telling them what things we'd like to see. We handed it over to them. We got action officers from each of the groups, and the groups and the group leaderships were all involved in trying to put together these programs and make sure that we told the best story that we possibly could to highlight the 17th Training Wing. On the screen right now is another first for us. We managed to get a orientation flight out of Dias, where our group was able to go onto a C-130J Super Hercules, and that was absolutely fantastic. We got some teamwork from Team Dias up there with the airlift wing, and so that was a fantastic experience for all of us that were involved to be to be able to go up there and pull off. It's just been a year of first after first after first after first. And we've, like I said, been shouting it from the rooftops that we are incredibly proud of this group, of the enthusiasm that we've seen from their side. And we're just as enthusiastic about it. We're really energetic. We're getting excited about advertising it again for next year. And we're hoping again for another massive cross-section of the city. There are some rules to who we can have and who we can't have, and those are set out by law. So, for instance, members of the media, members that are, I think it's federally employed, are ineligible for it. There are several rules, and we'll make sure that those are out there. But we'll start advertising, and that advertising or the application window is going to be open much longer than it was last time, because we kept hearing from people, hey, we didn't get a chance to apply. So we're absolutely going to get the word out there. We're going to leave the window open, and we're really excited about next year. So
I just kind of wanted to take an opportunity to reflect on the experience. Definitely going back, this was the best day ever, probably top 5 of my bucket list to date. It's not every day you get to ride in a C-130 and tour air traffic control towers and see training simulators. But I think what the whole experience boiled down to me was to see life through the lens of our military. And for me, just strengthen that connection to our military connected families and understand what their lives are like on base, what their loved ones are experiencing as they're going through training here in our city of San Angelo, and perhaps some opportunities to really make the experience better for them. I've asked JR multiple times, does it really have to end? And he's like, you've got to let someone else and share the experience. But honestly, it's definitely one of the events that will help shape my leadership legacy as a leader for our organization, for our students and our staff. And I'm just incredibly grateful and thankful for the opportunity and for what I've learned about the base. I've lived here since 2002, and I learned so many things. I thought I knew a lot about Goodfellow, but being able to participate in the immersion events just really deepened my knowledge of what we do here in San Angelo. And JR is actually going to share some fun facts here in a sec, but this is actually the mission statement of Goodfellow Air Force Base. We train, transform, and empower joint coalition warriors. I think the mission statement itself is very succinct, but the actions behind it are robust. That's what I take away from my experience and my insight. And we all can be a part of telling the Goodfellow Air Force Base story, and I know that I will for sure take this experience and use that to tell this story, and just be a champion of our military-connected families.
Okay, so providing me with a microphone and an audience is a dangerous thing, as a lot of people on base will tell you. But I couldn't leave you without trying to kind of spread some of the little-known facts that we have at Goodfellow Air Force Base. And we hear the whispers. There are certain people out there that perhaps don't know a lot about what happens on base, even though they've lived here in San Angelo and the surrounding region for sometimes decades. And being someone that actually grew up overseas, my dad was a teacher with the Department of Defense dependent schools, and so we moved around much like the military. I have spent most of my life going to school on military bases, living around military bases, and no matter where I've been, whether the country is English-speaking, like the United Kingdom, or Germany, Italy, Spain, it doesn't matter. Every military base in the world, especially since 9/11, has had a shroud of mystery surrounding it, even for people that live just the other side of the base, other side of the fence. And so one of our missions in public affairs is to engage with the community. And here recently, especially with some directives from our very senior leaders at the Air Force, we are looking to open up our base and engage with the community in ways that we have not seen for decades. One of those ways I'm very happy to tell you about is happening on the 3rd of June. And Goodfellow Air Force Base will be open to the public from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is an open house. There will also be a block party element. That element will have recruiters that you can meet with, units that you can talk to. There's going to be an Ask a Service Member, Ask a Spouse, just all kinds of different things happening at that block party. You'll also have a chance to see all of the different static displays, which are aircraft on display at Goodfellow Air Force Base. We don't have aircraft that operate out of Goodfellow, but we do have some that are on display because they're affiliated to the mission, or that graduates then go on to work around those aircraft. But we're really excited about the potential of this event, that it's the first time that really any of us have done something like this, just because of the way that the world has been since 2001. So we're really excited. We're hoping to see as many people as possible from the community, and so we're really happy to be able to tell you about that. But in the meantime, I do want to share some facts with you. So Goodfellow Air Force Base itself is actually older than the United States Air Force. Not a lot of people realize that. But in 1940, like I mentioned, pre-World War II, or at least the American involvement, the War Department identified a need for pilot training. And so that civic leader trip, that fateful civic leader trip, ended up in a base being established here in San Angelo, Texas. And so Goodfellow was initially created as a pilot training base. That went from 1941, when the first students arrived, until 1958. So in that time, they moved from the smaller single-seat fighters to multi-engine planes like the B-25 that you see outside of the South Gate off of Chadbourne Street. But then in 1958, the runway operations came to an end, and the mission was to switch to intelligence training instead. So then, my second fact is that we train every armed service in signals intelligence and firefighting at Goodfellow Air Force Base. One of my favorite photos on base, one of my favorite historic photos, is the photo that you see on the slide right now. So it's difficult to tell because it's black and white, but that photo is from the 60s. And all four of the gentlemen that you see sitting there at those consoles, those are different uniforms, all four of those. And so joint training started in 1966 at Goodfellow Air Force Base, 20 years before it was legislated in the Goldwater-Nichols Act. So Goodfellow has been at the spear tip of joint service training ever since 1966, which is awesome. I can tell you, having been on countless military bases, Goodfellow is very much unique in the sense that you see all of these services working together and just milling around every single day. It's incredible. And then the other thing that not a lot of people realize, even though we're right here in San Angelo, but 17th Training Wing graduates from Goodfellow go on to serve at every Air Force base in the world. For every aircraft launched and recovered, there is fire services there. And those fire service professionals will have trained at Goodfellow Air Force Base. On top of that, intelligence is an absolutely vital need for combatant commanders all across the world, meaning that Goodfellow graduates go all over the world to every combatant command. On top of that, fire protection and intelligence and special instruments are vital functions in today's Department of Defense, and Goodfellow is responsible for all three of those. So just fantastic. Our base is truly something to be proud of, and we're really looking forward to seeing you all on the 3rd of June to be able to show it off to you. And I'd be happy to take any questions that you have about the Honorary Commander Program.
Anyone have any questions? Well, Mr. Dindal.
Thanks, JR. I appreciate the information. That's how I ended up here. My dad was a pilot in World War II, came back to train Chinese pilots at Goodfellow after the war, and then was commander of the reserve for a few years for his final retirement. So Goodfellow's been a big part of my life, watching it change and grow, and trying to figure out what's going on in the intelligence community, because if they tell you, they have to shoot you. So, but anyway, yeah, Goodfellow is such a vital part of this community, and it's been so for quite some years, and we appreciate the partnership that SAISD for sure has with the base.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I'll just quickly add, thank you all for your partnership. That was an incredible presentation, and what an exciting endeavor. And I hope to join. I did receive an invite, but with a postponement, so I look forward to joining soon. But I also want to take this chance and echo Mr. Dindal. Just a special thanks to Teresa Goodwin as she's walking around making the lap. She has been an incredible supporter and probably our biggest fan of SAISD over many years. So we just want to thank you just for your advocacy, and thank you for your partnership. So thank you so much, and it's been a privilege to serve with you as well.
All right. I also want to just thank you all for being here and giving us that explanation, and obviously the unique relationship between Goodfellow Air Force Base, this town, and this school district are important, and the fact that the men and women who are stationed at Goodfellow are willing to entrust us with their children is something we don't take lightly. So we really appreciate everything y'all are doing to help us foster that even further. So, and then I will also say, Teresa, you'll be missed. Thank you so much, and you may need to get a picture later.
I want to say we also have Alicia Aguilar sitting in the audience. She snuck in without me seeing. She's also from the Public Affairs Office, and she has done an incredible job of helping JR and being a part of his team and disseminating information. So,
Before we let JR sit down completely, as we're also grateful for JR, Dr. Self, and our partnership with Goodfellow. We also are thankful that JR shares his spouse with SAISD, as she is an SAISD difference maker as well. So we appreciate the Orlando family on many levels. Thank you both.
That is all I have on my agenda for reports, so we'll move on into consent items. Does anyone have anything on the consent items they feel like they need to pull from consent? Okay. So we have consent items A through F. A is consider donations. B is consider bid 23-13 Glen Painting. C is consider bid 23-14 Glen Cafeteria Drive Repair. D is consider cooperative purchasing organizations. E is consider bid 23-10 telephone replacement system. And F is consider superintendent's recommendations for personnel for school year 2023-2024. And there are additional recommendations both at our desk and in our board book tonight. As just a reminder, all of these items were discussed at our pre-agenda meeting that are now on our consent items. Do I have a motion to approve consent items A through F?
I'll make a motion to approve items A through F.
I'll second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Gallegos and a second from Ms. Michael Flint for consent items A through F as outlined. All in favor? All against? Perfect. Motion passes. I'm going to get that eventually. Public comment. Was there any public comment on what I just voted on? We just voted on. I just asked for a vote on. Any additional board comment? Yeah, we'll get there. It's only been 6 years I've been on this thing. Okay. All right. We'll move forward with number 13. Consider bills, accounts, and financial statements for March of 2023.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
So we have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Mr. Gallegos. Do we have any public comment on our bills, accounts, and financial statements? Any further board comment?
Yes, sir, Dr. Kingman, I appreciate your taking the reins as president of this board. I know it's a big deal. and I appreciate your stepping up to that responsibility. But as far as this motion is concerned, all these reports were reviewed in our pre-agenda meeting previously, and these reports can also be found online at a board tab labeled Financial Transparency, down to even our checkbook, which is online.
Sounds like you've done that before. All right. So, having any further board comment? All right. So no board comment, no further public comment. We'll take a vote. Everyone in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone against? All right. The motion passes. Number 14 will be consider proposed amendment for district official budget of the general fund. Mr. Brandon, are you going to make a comment on that, or?
I think the only object that there could have been a question on was the roll forward PO on the buses, and so we didn't get those in time, so that PO rolled forward, and so we're covering part of that expenditure, $334,000 in transportation for the buses that came in after the start of the school year.
So this is money that was budgeted last year, and just for clarification, budgeted last year as part of our fund has been in our fund balance over the last year, waiting for the PO to arrive, or the buses to actually arrive.
Yes.
And now that the buses are here, we're having to move that money from last year's budget to this year's budget, with no result in any monetary differences, but just to increase our expenditures for this year to cover those bus purchases.
Yes.
So moved. Do I have a second? Do I have any public comment? Any further board comment? See how we get there. All right. All in favor for the proposed amendment for district official budget amounting in $334,000, $280? All in favor? Aye. Very good. All right. All right. Next, we have considered bid number 23-15, interactive technology curriculum. Mr. Henry.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Last year, during the planning phase for STEM Camp, the digital innovation team wanted to add an additional technology resource that could be implemented during the camp and used throughout the year. They wanted something that would be portable, interactive, suitable for all ages, and add a physical piece as well. Pro Computing's Lou system was purchased and used for the entire year. By the end of the year, this device will have been used at every elementary school. With addition of another Lou system, all campuses would be able to increase the use of this system. An RFQ was sent to buy-board vendors who offer interactive technology that fit this description. We received 2 quality submissions and 1 no bid for this project. The quotes were reviewed and Pro Computing was the lowest price. This piece of equipment will not only project a lesson onto a wall, but also turns the wall into an interactive touchscreen. Activities produced by Lou includes but is not limited to PE, math, science, and STEM. I'm going to bring Jennifer Feck up here. She's our expert on digital innovation, and she has a small presentation for you.
So as Jennifer's walking up, first I want to thank Jennifer and Brandon both. If y'all recall, we discussed this addition in last week's meeting. And Jennifer, thank you for staying. We know it's been a long meeting, but we appreciate you being here and sharing this additional information with the board.
We just want to, Brandon made a video to share the experiences the students have been having as well as the coaches. And then I'll take any questions after the video.
Which wall should it be on, Ms. Feck?
Thank y'all. Do y'all have any questions?
Board, any questions?
Lupita and I are saying that we need a board training on that machine.
We said we could make that happen during STEM camp on July 12th or 13th. Is that correct, Ms. Feck?
Yes, the Lou will be with our second and third graders, so you're more than welcome to come and play with our second and third graders. And with a new second edition, we'll be able to add a rotation for fourth and fifth for next year also. So thank you.
I'm sure you noticed that kindergartner that said he got so much exercise with that thing, so I know y'all are eager to join.
Any further board comment? And just as for a point of clarification for our community, the Lou has been at every elementary school and is being used by every campus, or every elementary campus in our district.
Yes, every elementary campus has had it for, with the way we were able to schedule every 2 weeks. And with the second unit, it's just going to be able to stretch it out where they can have it a little bit longer. Because one of the things we're working with our coaches and teachers this year is you can build your own content. So they've been playing with stuff that's pre-created. This year, we're going to be able to build our own interactivities and games and add that in there with the elementary schools.
Jennifer, I'm giggling in my head because I saw the math problems up there, and so many times a student would say, "Miss, when are we ever going to use this?" And now the math teacher can say, "In PE."
Yes, yes.
All right, any further questions? All right, well, with that, I'll take a motion. Someone's going to make a motion.
I'll recommend contracting with Pro Computings for the purchase of the Lou Interactive Technology in the amount of $38,700.
I second.
So, any public comment on this issue? You're doing great. Thanks. Any further board comment? All right, with that, then we have a motion from Mr. Dindal and a second from Ms. Arroyo, and we will take a vote. All in favor? All against? No. With that, the motion passes. All right, we have announcements. We have our thank you for being here. We have our pre-agenda workshop on June 12th, regular board meeting on June 19th. Between now and then, we have just a few graduations and events that I'm sure Becky's going to give us a reminder of exact timings, etc. I'm not aware of any reason we need to go into executive session. Anyone? All right. With that, then our meeting is adjourned.